The 50 Million Midas. Probably one of the most famous weapons in Skyblock history. Back in the day, it was the strongest weapon in the game. Everybody and their grandma wanted this weapon, but only a few people could actually get their hand on one. As the name kinda gives away, you needed to spend at least 50 million on the sword if you wanted to unlock its full potential. And back in the day, 50 million used to be a lot of coins. So what happened? How could such a legendary sword fall from its grace? Well, that's what we will discuss today. The rise and fall of the 50 Million Midas. The sword was added on July 2nd, 2019 and was quick to get some attention. It was sold at the dark auction and had a unique concept. The more coins you would bid on the sword, the more damage it would deal, capping out at 50 million coins. Now, there weren't a lot of people who actually had that amount of money at that time, but the ones that had it were not hesitating to get their hands on a 50 million Midas. It was easily the strongest sword in the game and beating out previous giants like the Dragon Sword or Piglin Sword. Yo, it's me. I'm editing the video right now and I actually realized that I forgot to mention that the sword actually kind of sucked as soon as it released. But it got fixed later on, so it's fine. Just pretend like I talked about it. The sword quickly became a staple for rich endgame players that used all their money for the most OP weapon in the game. Tons of videos were made about the weapon, and it seemed like no weapon could ever top the Midas. But then the dungeons came along, on July 1st, 2020. The dungeons were a highly anticipated update that brought tons of new gear into the game, including a lot of weapons. Most dungeon weapons turned out to be way better than the Midas, at least inside of dungeons. Outside of dungeons though, the Midas still mostly remained the king. By the way, you can be a king too by subscribing to my channel. I would really appreciate it. Anyways, back to the video. But then, a few months later, floor 5 was added to the dungeons, which brought along two new major weapons. The Livid Dagger and the Shadow Fury. Immediately people began to notice how strong those two weapons were even outside of dungeons. Comparisons of Livid Dagger versus the Midas or the Midas versus the Shadow Fury began popping up, and the empire that once was the Midas sword started to crumble a bit. People pointed out that it might just be more worth it to get a Livid Dagger instead of a Midas, and almost everyone that had a Midas barely used it anymore, and instead went for the Livid Dagger or Shadow Fury. The sword seemed to get buried for good after the Wither Blades were added along with the floor 7 update for dungeons. Now all the endgame players just go for Wither Blades as their primary weapons, late game players go for the Giant Sword or similar weapons, and mid game players just go for the Livid Dagger. You can get the dagger as cheap as 5 to 7 million coins nowadays. All these weapons just have a lot more use in the current state of the game than the Midas does. And no modern player at any stage of the game nowadays would ever even consider getting the Midas sword over any other weapons mentioned in this video. But hey, I still think that the Midas played an important part in shaping up Skyblock as the game we know it as today. And it is definitely an important part of Skyblock history. That's all for today's video though. Take care, see ya.